In February, the majority of the House of Non-Representatives committed yet another crime by voting on a bill to require background checks for all gun purchasers, including those at gun shows and on the internet. The federal government does not have authority to pass such legislation. In my book, Ban Assault Bananas, I show that every official, including congressmen, judges, and federal agents, who advocates, enforces, or upholds unconstitutional federal laws on firearm possession is engaged in a criminal conspiracy against rights, pursuant to Title 18 U.S.C. Section 241, and deprivation of rights under color of law, pursuant to Title 18 U.S.C. Section 242. Don't be deceived, the ultimate goal of gun control schemers is incremental confiscation of all firearms. Here are the admissions of a few conspirators. During Senator Dianne Feinstein's February 5, 1995 interview on CBS 60 Minutes, she said, "If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it." Senator Joseph Biden, in an Associated Press report on November 18, 1993, said, "Banning guns is an idea whose time has come." Former U.S. Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens said, "They should demand a repeal of the Second Amendment." NBC President Michael Gartner, reported in USA Today, January 16, 1992, said, "There is no reason for anyone in the country, for anyone except a police officer or a military person, to own, to have, to use, a handgun. The only way to control handgun use in this country is to prohibit the guns." Senator Tom Harkin, Senate Democratic Policy Committee hearing, May 15, 2000, said, "Let's take all the handguns we have in America, put them on a couple of old rusted ships, take them out in the middle of the ocean and sink them, that would be the best thing to do." The Washington Post, editorial, September 15, 1994, said, "Assault weapons play a part in only a small percentage of crime. The ban's virtue will be if it turns out to be, as hoped, a stepping stone to broader gun control." Senator Howard Metzenbaum, Constitution Subcommittee hearings, February 10, 1989, said, "No, we are not looking at how to control criminals, we are talking about banning guns." Representative Mel Reynolds, on CNN Crossfire, December 9, 1993, said, "If it were up to me, we'd ban all guns." Representative Charles Schumer, in a news conference, December 12, 1999, said, "We're going to beat guns into submission." Senator-elect Dianne Feinstein, Associated Press, November 18, 1993, said, "Banning guns addresses a fundamental right of all Americans to feel safe." Rosie O'Donnell, The Rosie O'Donnell Show, April 21, 1999, said, "You are not allowed to own a gun, and if you do own a gun, I think you should go to prison." Seth Waxman, within the Clinton/Gore U.S. Department of Justice, August 22, 2000, said, "The Second Amendment does not extend an individual right to keep and bear arms." President Bill Clinton, The Washington Post, March 2, 1993, said, "The country can't be so fixated on our desire to preserve the rights of ordinary Americans to legitimately own handguns and rifles." In my book, Ban Assault Bananas, I set the record straight on the deceptive gun control arguments put forth by the conspirators and the uninformed dupes who believe them. I'm not minimizing the tragic death of anyone by firearms or other means, but I must expose the idiotic arguments of those who believe banning guns saves lives. The question is whether an armed or unarmed citizenry saves lives. The truth is that having guns saves lives. The police can't be everywhere. Aside from personal self-defense, private ownership of firearms is our last means of defense against government oppression. We no longer face a threat of foreign invasion, the real threat to liberty comes from within. Another point relative to the idiocy of gun control laws is they don't work to reduce crime. Yes, you will find some statistics that claim crime has been reduced after local gun laws have been passed, and others that say it hasn't changed at all. But what these statistics don't show is the greater number of criminal acts that are prevented simply by displaying a firearm. The majority of these go unreported. Going a step further, we now see the introduction of plans for 3D printed guns, partially completed receivers one can purchase online, and blueprints to make one's own firearm. These products are a response to the conspiracy to ban guns. What the gun control zealots don't realize is that for every action there is an equal or greater reaction. By banning guns, or certain ones, it spurs the development of other means of self-defense. Recently I was privy to seeing a demonstration of an electronic weapon powerful enough to repel an army brigade or squadron of jets. The government has it, and now a small group of patriots have it. It is a terrible thing for anyone to die, violently or otherwise, but gun bans encourage bad people to kill by more lethal means, such as bombs and cars. Elon Musk now sells a $500 flamethrower that anyone can buy without restriction. Imagine the harm caused by a deranged person going into a school or theater with a flamethrower. The carnage would be far worse than with a firearm. Cesare Beccaria, the father of modern criminology, said this in 1764. False is the idea of utility that sacrifices 1,000 real advantages for one imaginary or trifling inconvenience, that would take fire from men because it burns, and water because one may drown in it, that has no remedy for evils, except destruction. The laws that forbid the carrying of arms are laws of such a nature. They disarm only those who are neither inclined nor determined to commit crimes. Can it be supposed that those who have the courage to violate the most sacred laws of humanity, the most important of the code, will respect the less important and arbitrary ones, which can be violated with ease and impunity, and which if strictly obeyed, would put an end to personal liberty so dear to men, so dear to the enlightened legislator, and subject innocent persons to all the vexations that the guilty alone ought to suffer? Such laws make things worse for the assaulted and better for the assailants. They serve rather to encourage than to prevent homicides, for an unarmed man may be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man. They ought to be designated as laws, not preventive of crime, but fearful of crimes, solely produced by the tumultuous impression of a few isolated facts, and not by thoughtful consideration. Here is a list of the controversial facts indisputably proven in the book, Ban Assault Bananas. 1. More people are killed by police shootings than in mass shootings. 2. Gun control laws are racist and result in more deaths than the lives they save. 3. The Brady Bill is a fraud. 4. The 1968 Gun Control Act was copied from Hitler's gun control laws. 5. The right to life supersedes all man-made laws. 6. The federal government has no lawful authority to regulate, ban or criminalize the possession of any type of firearm including assault rifles, pistols, silencers, machine guns, bump stocks, or ammunition. 7. Anyone whose firearm has been seized or who has been imprisoned on federal firearm charges is the victim of a crime, not the perpetrator. This video is the first of a multi-part series of excerpts from my book on the idiocy of gun control. If this topic interests you, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and tap the bell icon to make sure you receive notification.